Oh man, I hope I look okay because this the best it's gonna get. In between cuts and retwists, still in my starter life phase. This is what you get. But let's get into the blog. What's cracking, YouTube? Thank you for tuning back into the Mind of Raps YouTube channel. I'm coming with a blog today. I've been recently inspired to just kind of talk about certain things, and I just want to kind of talk about 2020, the year, right? 2020 has been a year of reconciliation. I know it's been tough for people to kind of see the bright spots in 2020 due to the pandemic, economic issues, race relations, political things. It's been a lot. It's been a lot going on, but yet we're here, yet we're still surviving. But there's been some bright points as far as 2020 is concerned, in my personal opinion. Two things as of late that kind of drives this theme of reconciliation, right? First things first, we're coming off the versus battle between Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy or Jeezy, Snowman, whatever, however you want to slice that. I am a huge fan of both. Trap legends, trap gods, rap legends, in my personal opinion, for what they were able to do with that sound coming out of Atlanta. There's a storied beef between the two artists, as you know. Nothing that, I'm not going to, pretty much get into here because, you probably heard the story 1,000,001 times, but I think those two brothers getting together and putting aside those issues that they had, because it was, it could have been that before, as far as like the one of those rap beats where it really spilled into someone losing their life, which it did, but I'm talking about from an artist standpoint. I want to talk to it definitely from Gucci Mane's side, because the beef was, definitely with Jeezy putting out the hit, or the thing that he did on Gucci to, have his life, changed and altered. And I can imagine the PTSD that goes into something like that. So this is probably the first time you've been in a room that close to that man in 15 years. And, it's so much you wanted to do, so much you wanted to say. And people applaud Jeezy for taking the high road, which in some respects can be seen that way. But it took a lot for Gucci to be there. And he probably played those diss tracks as his way of getting that animosity out, rather than, let it manifest in a physical form. So I take my hat off to Jeezy. I'm sorry, Gucci, for that show that he could at least be in the same room. I'm not sure what's going to happen with those two gentlemen moving forward, but it was a good moment. One of the biggest moments this year, and one of the biggest moments in hip hop, definitely in the past 10 years, 15 years, if you want to go back that far. Definitely seeing those two men, how they grown from obviously their 20s into their 40s, just, it's a beautiful thing. But like I said, hats off to those gentlemen. Next in the theme of reconciliation, right, we have the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion had its 30-year reunion. Kind of makes you feel a little old when the Fresh Prince is having a 30-year reunion. But it was good to see all those familiar faces back on the set that made them more famous than probably what they were before. I think the reunion shows have a tendency to be all, bubbles and, everything nice, but there was a dark cloud over the Fresh Prince, at least toward, moving toward the end, and definitely in the latter years when the show was over and done. Janet Hubert, the original Aunt Viv, the OG Aunt Viv, the dark-skinned Aunt Viv, however people want to phrase that. She had a publicized beef or dragging of Will Smith for the past 20 plus years. Jesus Christ. This woman, anytime it felt like a mic was in her face, she got her shit off. Like, she talked her stuff about Will Smith. And to an extent, she did have, a gripe. Um, I love her as an actress, and especially what she was able to do with that role. Um, Definitely one of the high points of the show. Definitely in the first 3 seasons. But just getting back to their beef, it was great to see them sit down and come together. And Janet talked about a lot of things that she dealt with um, during that tumultuous time where she was pretty much going through abuse and all kind of crazy things at home, and just coming to work just made her be a difficult person to work with. So that's why she was undoubtedly pretty much fired, replaced, or made an offer that she could refuse. So she stopped. She walked away from the show. Will acknowledged things that he could have done better. Um, it was great to see, and it was a good moment to see her reunite with the cast as well as Will. Um, both versions of Aunt Viv were actually met for the first time, which I thought was great to see. Janet Hubert and Daphne Maxwell Reid, um, seeing them together looked great. The optics of it were great. Um, if you guys noticed this, make sure you jump in the comments and discuss this too. Did you all notice that Alfonso Ribeiro was not on set? Carlton was not on set when Aunt Viv came, or Janet Hubert. I was like, whew, it must still be some tension there, because I think in one of her, tirades from, back in the day, she, talked a little crazy about Alfonso, and maybe it was just something that they couldn't mend. But, even though it was, it was a lot, but I enjoyed seeing the cast reunite, and they all paid tribute to James Avery, which was that was a tear jerker. Jesus, I mean, I held it together, but it was interesting nonetheless. Um, but just seeing that whole scenario play out the way that it did was very ugly. Being a fan of the show and always wondering what happened to Janet Hubert's version of the character, and them getting that reconciliation because Will knew that she was an integral part of the show and still wanted to make sure that things were right with her. I think that showed a lot on both sides with Will and Janet. So it was great seeing that. Let's talk about a personal moment of reconciliation. I know you guys are, new to me here, but on my, Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or places like that, I recently posted about my father recently passing. My father passed on November 2nd of this year. So especially tough right now for me and my family, just going through the things that we're going through, holiday season and things like that. So, it's best to remember those, those good times. But toward the top of the year, end of 2019, me and my father had a falling out of sorts. I won't get too deep into the contents of that conversation, but just know that it was a lot, It was a lot on me. It was a lot on him. We met somewhere in the middle. We laughed, we cried, we talked about those things that we could have done to make, certain things better. It's interesting because in reconciliation is tough when you have to meet somebody halfway, or meet somebody where they are. It's tough when you feel like you shouldn't be the bigger person. It's tough because, it takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage, and undoubtedly you have to be humble too. But you don't want those moments, especially somebody that you're really close to, somebody that you share a bond with. It's never too late to to mend fences and make sure that you just, you know, figure it out. Um, but it was a tough time because when it felt like things were just going right, going perfect, you know, with our relationship, me and my father, um, he's no longer here. So you have to figure out, you know, how to mend fences, especially with family members. And I know it's tough. You know, I'm coming from a point of even somewhat privileged when I have this conversation because I know there's a lot of family members that have a crazier relationship just with, you know, certain things that happen. But it's just I'm glad that we made amends. We figured it out because I'm recently a newlywed too. I was married on October 10th, and I told you just previously, my dad died on November 2nd, so he got to see me get married, you know, and he was so happy, the smile on his face, and you know, being accepting of his new daughter-in-law, my wife. It was, you know, reconciliation. Yeah, it's something else, but I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you guys. 2020 is definitely a year of reconciliation, um, because it just feels like if no time is the best time to do it, it should be right now. When it seems like everything's just kind of at a standstill, um, especially with, you know, states going back into shutdown mode and all those great things this holiday season. Make amends. But I ain't got no more else to say. But, you know, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video. Make sure you subscribe, comment, share this video with people. Just trying to make the channel grow. As the channel grows, you know, I will get better with this editing thing and all that great stuff. But I have no more to say, and I'll catch y'all on the next vlog. Peace. Rest in peace, Pops. I love you. Um, I just wish we had a little bit more time. But I'm happy that we actually got a chance to reconcile. Love you.